Christian, Ron, Mac, Jeff, all of you, I promise we'll at least get to those calls. And then tomorrow I'll open the phones up for everybody. But I like to hear about how I'm racist because I'm against 52% of blacks being aborted by Planned Parenthood and others. I'm against it because I don't like seeing 92% illegitimacy in the black neighborhoods after government took over 60 years ago. I don't like seeing Newsweek creating racial divisions, saying if you're white, your history on the cover of the new Newsweek showing Obama conquering, and Obama supporters calling me and saying, you know, your white reign is over. What? Because you're teamed up with the government, you're going to do what? Oh, take more and more of what I earn, run my life, shut down small businesses so we can collapse like North Korea. I get it. The state is who you love, and the state is who you'll serve. You go up to Infowars.com. Nomi Prinz was a managing director at Goldman Sachs and been quite liberal. She says the real danger of Obamacare, insurance company takeover of health care. Oh, it doesn't cover pre-existing conditions. They wrote it. It makes 30+ million people buy it, and it's making the price go way up, and the government now runs what care you get. Oh, the same government that did all the secret lethal testing on even foster kids, killing them, and injecting black people with syphilis, and other kids across the board with polio. Oh, they're going to run my health care now. Oh, doesn't matter that they're your friend. Man arrested for uploading picture of burning poppy on Twitter. Yeah, you know it's Veterans Day, and I want to get into Veterans Day right now, and then I'll get into Los Angeles City Council pushes globalist vegan agenda under Meatless Mondays. You know, the government in New York and other places, the feds tell you what to eat in school. Parents can't pack lunches now all over the country. They're telling, because you can't be trusted. What do you think it is, America, where parents can be trusted to pack the lunch? I was talking to one of my crew members about his, 6-year-old son at school. They had him writing poetry, and he said that he hated, I think it was Brussels sprouts or something. And they said, oh, you're not allowed to use the word hate. See, so removing the language now, yes. Everything you see in an authoritarian society, off the chart. Government laptops that they issue you, watching you at home, everything's freedom. NSA watching without wiretaps. Obama's re-election spurs wave of state petitions to secede. Adnan Salazar has a key article. Driver's question on guns at federal checkpoint. Very important article by Paul Watson. Election fraud. Obama won more than 99% of the vote in more than 100 Ohio precincts. On and on and on. It's all up at Infowars.com. And it's now the bottom story. Woman describes shocking sexual abuse at hands of TSA. And I can't even say on air what they did to her, but the video is up there on Infowars.com. Here's a new article up there. Man arrested for posting image of burning poppy on Twitter. Now, you see people everywhere over the weekend and today wearing little poppies. And I remember growing up, my dad always had one on Veterans Day. He would, give money to the veterans groups. My issue is it becomes shallow. It becomes, oh, you just say you support the troops, you go out and have a parade. But you don't talk about how the government, you don't talk about how the government is letting the troops use DU for 13 years, 22 years, killing them since 1990, now expanding that out. And I'll show people watching on prisonplanet.tv the evil photo that got him arrested. No, you just say, I support the troops, and then that means support the government and expanded wars. They always say, support the troops, win the war, the endless war. And now we have a war on drugs, a war on poverty, a war on extremism, which means returning veterans. So more and more, it's just this empty cover. And if you go to Infowars.com, you can see the article. I've got it punched up on screen if you want to punch that up right here at Infowars.com. Just right there, Dan, if you just punch up my screen. Yeah, there you go. Man arrested for uploading picture of burning poppy on Twitter. Backlash erupts over encroachment of freedom of speech. Remember the BBC reporter, host of One Man and His Dog, said rural communities deserve the same rights as homosexuals and Muslims. And they said, well, the word homosexual is hateful. Just any word they say is hateful. And so this guy did a thing burning the poppy, saying he doesn't like war. and that's become a symbol of pro-war. And they came and they arrested him. And they're trying to pass similar cybersecurity laws here and cyberbullying. It says where if someone finds what you did hurtful, you're arrested. And see, they'll start with something like, don't let pedophiles have their free speech, when the globalists are actually mainly pedophiles, as we've documented. Or, oh, don't talk bad about the veterans, if people find that distasteful, but then take everybody's free speech. Or, oh, don't have a law where you can't burn the American flag. When you actually pass that law, you burn what the flag symbolizes. A man living in Kent in the south of England has been arrested by police for posting a picture of a burning poppy, sparking an intense backlash from many concerned about the erosion of free speech. Police in Kent have not made it clear whether the man actually took the picture himself or it was a picture from somewhere else online. The image shows a paper poppy, the kind that are sold to the Royal British Legion to commemorate Remembrance Day in Britain, being set on fire with a lighter. The suspect, a 19-year-old in Linford House, who was arrested yesterday on suspicion of malicious telecommunications. So there you go. When the police were contacted by the good tattletales. That's a Steve Watson article up on both our big sites, prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. But enough of that. Sick of the globalists, eugenicists, control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPur. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPur, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPur is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPur. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. Again, the globalists, in a nutshell, use the veterans and their valor and their sacrifice as a package to their tyranny and their evil. They wrap all of their opium growing in Afghanistan, their murder of Pat Tillman, in their fake patriotism, when it turned out they just executed him. They said he was fighting al-Qaeda, the globalist run. And if you just type in Homeland Security says veterans are biggest terror threat, you will get the official Homeland Security report. And you will also, if you type in Tea Party listed as terrorist, you'll get the Washington Times pointing out the Army is training to take on the Tea Party. So you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, just like they show Obama as a conquering Napoleon, and it says, if you're white, you're history. This is a real Newsweek cover. The globalists want to open the borders up, bring in as many foreigners as they can, not to make them hardworking Americans, but to turn them into the new army. It's the government, which is foreign banks, with its foreign political enemies who they get preferential jobs and treatment. Doesn't matter even what color you are, as long as you're not from America and are coming from a poor country. So they can put you on the government handout while they demonize the vets, the libertarians, the conservatives. Libertarians and conservatives, who are pretty much the majority of this country, can never get back into the government because they always have a neocon placeholder, and that's how they walk us into the dark night. Then when the Democrats engage in election fraud and other things and put Obama in over the other puppet, they say, oh, it's because you're not socialist enough and you're not for open borders and abortion and all this. If you do that, Republicans, you'll get elected. Yeah, if we open the borders up, hand in our guns, and support abortion, basically become the Democratic Party, then you'll win. See, that's the fraud. No, the Republicans lost because of fraud, because of dependency, but also because 12 to 20 million, depending on which numbers you look at, Ron Paul supporters just didn't vote for Mitt Romney. And the idea is just let this get as bad as it can get now. Let's just go all the way now. And things are going to collapse, and that's the plan. And then more of you will go on welfare and learn to worship big fat government.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Look, I'm going to get Dr. Pachanik on tomorrow, and he does know Petraeus, and he did run PSYOPs for the State Department and assassinations of foreign leaders. Just look up Steve Pachanik. It's pretty interesting. But the issue is he's saying this is all a neocon false flag. I got to be honest, I don't totally agree with that, just because why did Obama order the stand down? I mean, now it's come out that they had a CIA black site. Of course they did. That's where they took people in Libya to torture them. They launched the whole al-Qaeda revolution against Gaddafi out of Benghazi. Almost 2 years ago is when it first started, the rumblings. And there was a black site down the street. The group that went and killed him, it turned out, was hired to run security in Benghazi. It was al-Qaeda, the al-Qaeda they run. And how the neocons can spin this of like, look, he's not tough on al-Qaeda. Obama was involved in a stand down. So if Pachenik's right, it means neocons and his administration are running things. And Hillary did it. Well, Hillary's the one who's going to have to fall on her political sword here. And you've got the neocons now and others trying to call them as witnesses. I just do not buy, and I have Pachenik on to say it, but it doesn't mean I just agreed with him a month ago when he said this was all, when it first happened, staged by them. I mean, I could see that happening using an al-Qaeda element that wasn't under globalist control or under a different faction's control. But this is all about arms going to Syria. That's now come out. We've had Colonel Schaefer and others on. It's all come out. And now it's coming out. They had a big CIA torture command base down the street. And it looks like another unit, part of that, 2 guys ran down to try to help them. They held it off now for 7 hours. And now we're hearing this this little honeypot, this little operative, that woman on TV with like people bragging, I've got a high security clearance and then some. You got to love all these modern day spies. Like everybody's supposed to fall down and worship them because they're a spy when there's millions of these spies. That means traitor today more than ever. Bragging about, I hang out with the general. I mean, it was obvious she was in bed with him. You know, you can see when a woman's proud of some guy she's betting. And now we hear it's threats she was making to other women, horning in. It's a whorehouse, ladies and gentlemen. The women in high level in the military are camp women. Going back to generals, hookers. That's where the word hooker comes from, a General Hooker that kept a big group of them behind him in the Civil War, a Northern general. I'm not saying this woman's a hooker. I'm just saying that's where the word hookers comes from, is General Hooker. Historically, Lindsey Graham, we need a Watergate-type committee to investigate Benghazi. Petraeus must testify. I agree with Joel Skousen and Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer's analysis and others, and that's what the evidence points towards, to make a long story short, that they wanted this guy dead. Now, that might have been groups within the government that advised Obama wrong, so he ordered the stand down. The point is, he's like Nixon. He's caught if they want to destroy him now. Because, you know, again, put him in for the second term, now really put the clamps on so he does exactly what they say. This is part of the globalist balancing power. They always do this. I don't agree with what they're doing. It's just how the criminals counterbalance the criminals. So we'll see if Pachenik can convince me tomorrow or the next day. He's under the weather, but we'll see if he said he'd come on tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. And I'm going to get Tarpley on again. That's always fun. And get his take on all this. I'm really trying to find the truth here. I want to get Colonel Schaefer back on. This is moving quick here on the radio show. He was on the Nightly News, last Thursday. Pretty powerful interview up there. He told me off air, and he said, no, you can say it on air, but he elaborated that, yeah, I know this is pointing towards a hit. In fact, it is a hit. The question is, did Obama order it or somebody else? Pretty powerful info on that front. But now they're saying we need a Watergate-type investigation on Benghazi. Petraeus must testify. Yeah, it's so obvious that, I mean, folks, you go to the Watergate Hotel. It's come out in the news with Porter Goss, the CIA director, a while back, and all these guys. It is a madhouse. Two look like two nerds. Got their photos up there. The two little lovebirds, as if that's not obvious what's going on there. Anyways, and these women climbing socially with the sex and all of it. Again, I'm not knocking people. I mean, at least Petraeus, it appears, isn't part of the rest of the guild up there. That it's not just they only like men, they like underage ones, which is absolutely abominable. So I guess his only crime is he likes women. I've made that joke more than once. But the point here is it's a sick joke that they don't let you get to that position unless you're compromised. Well, we've had 3 generals the last month step down because of sex stuff. It's kind of like their heart plug that Baron Harkonnen has to pull and you bleed to death, or little exploding political bombs in their carotid arteries. That's what's going on here, is they're always attached. I mean, you don't get anywhere unless you've got 4 or 5 mistresses. And usually that's not enough. You know, you got to do a lot of more horrible things than that. So finishing up with Petraeus, this is the season of scandals. They'll use this to distract from other issues in the economy. They'll use it to play political football. It's kind of a balance of power in the structure so Obama doesn't get too much power. But they always had this stuff on her. And the claim that the FBI got it because there were complaints, they already had that just waiting there. And that, oh, they accidentally learned about all this right as he was supposed to testify. Give me a break. They sit on this dirt until they're ready to use it. And clearly the ambassador was not going along with giving missiles to al-Qaeda that were stored at the facility, 15,000 of them, 10,000 of them, heat-seeker missiles. In fact, I was corrected by Colonel Schaefer and looked it up. I was saying only a few thousand were heat-seeking. Most of them, more than two-thirds, over 10,000 to 15,000, are heat-seeker. And wow, the point is the ambassador didn't play ball and had to be eliminated. And that's what Pachinik says, but he says, oh, the neocons didn't like him because he was an Arabist. That means, I guess, he was snuggled up to the Arabs and there was some other double cross going on. The point is Obama lied about this, and he's been caught lying. That's admitted. He knew it was a sophisticated, coordinated attack. It went on for 7 hours, not an hour, and they ordered a stand down. And that's now coming out, and this is big, because the system is promoting it and it's now out there. There's all sorts of scandals, like the stupid fake bin Laden rescue thing. So we'll continue to track all of that. But this is really a way to just bring down Obama if they want. If he does everything he's told, then he may be left alone. So they're puppets, but they're important puppets.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.